Hi, dumplings and Python ears. Unfortunately, I cannot teach the class in person on Thursday, week 12, day 2. So I'm creating this recording for you that's going to kind of cover what we were going to do as well as our lab. But I do want to say that if you are welcome to attend my other classes, which are at 2 and 3 in Cap 160. But you're probably going to just watch the recording. So here it goes. We are continuing working with dictionaries, such a great way to, create a variable. It's a new variable type for us, but create a variable that can hold a collection of information. And the key thing, the really important part about dictionaries are key value pairs. So now I'm going to share my screen and show some of the stuff going on. So here we go. This is where we left off. So this is where we left off, and we have dictionaries. Dictionaries store key value pairs. We're using those curly braces. So hopefully you're kind of getting used to that. You're using curly braces, and then keys and values. Dictionaries are mutable, which means we can add elements, update elements, delete elements, and we can use methods as well. So we're going to continue covering this information today. So adding an element, even though we did this already on Tuesday, I'm going to do another example. Putting here, this is how we add an element into our dictionary. So we have our dictionary, whatever variable name we want to give it. We put a square bracket and then we give it a key equals and we give it a value. So for example, we have this exam here, books. We have the keys, as you can see, are the titles of the books, and then the value. So the key is the book title and the value is the author. So we have key value, key value. So when I print it, we get that ugly print with the single, the single quotes, right? The curly braces and everything. But you see here that we have two elements in our dictionary. And then here, we're going to take this and we're going to say, hey, we're going to add in another element by giving a new key, the book thief, and the author to that book. And when I print it out again, you'll see that now we have 3 elements. We have 3 book titles and their corresponding authors. We can also use this same notation for updating or replacing an element. So say I did this here and I have The Fault in Our Stars and I typed in Jack Green instead of John Green, and I want to update that. So we can use the exact same syntax, use that key, The Fault in Our Stars, and reassign it the value to be John Green. So it just replaces Jack with John. Okay, so same syntax. Now we can also delete elements, and this is something we didn't do on Tuesday. So there are different ways to delete elements in a dictionary, just like there was different ways in a list. But I love using pop because remember, we used pop in our list as well. So there is a dictionary method called pop, so off of the dictionary variable, you say dot pop parentheses, because it's a method, we use parentheses, and you give it a key. And then it will say, okay, I will pop off, take out that element with that key, and return you the value. So very much like lists here. So I can have my books, say I have my dictionary of books, right? I have 2 books in there. And let's say I've read one of them. I've read The Fault in Our Stars. So I want to pop that. I want to remove that from our dictionary. So I'm going to do that. Pop will remove it. And then you have that option to capture the value because it has that pop method has a return value to capture it in a variable. So I captured that in the author variable. And there we see John Green. So that's how we're going to delete from a dictionary. Before we delete, it's always nice to check to see if it's actually in there, right? So we can use the in operator, if key in dictionary. You just we actually did an example of this on Tuesday as well, but nice to see it again, because always a good reminder, if we're going to delete, let's make sure to check that it's in there. So I'm going to first check, I'm having the user enter in, and the user entered in the giver. Well, the giver is not in our books dictionary. So if it's in there, then we're able to pop it. If it's not, then we just say it's not in the dictionary. So just protecting that we don't crash, or that we don't, throw an error because it's not in there. Okay. And you'll notice here I did the pop and I didn't necessarily need the value, which is the author. So I did not have a variable capturing that return value. We can also use not in. So this is really helpful too, right? Not is the not operator and the in operator. We've done this before with lists, checking to see if an element is in a list or not in a list. We can do the same thing with a dictionary. So I have my books dictionary with 2 books, The Fault in Our Stars, The Hate You Give, and their corresponding authors. I'm going to ask the user for a title. They enter in the giver. And then I'm going to say, okay, well, if it's not in the book, if it's not in my dictionary, my books dictionary, then I need to get an author, right? I need that. I have my key, but now I need my value to put that into the dictionary. So I ask the user for an author, and then I get the author, and I now put that into the dictionary. So books is my dictionary, square bracket, title, which is my key, equals author, which is my value. So I do that. I print my books, and you will see that that last book, The Giver, is added to my books dictionary. Here are some dictionary methods as well. So we can get a value out of a value using a key. We can use, that square bracket, which looks like indexing. We can do that. There is also a get method we can call. There's these other methods as well. I'm showing them to you, not that you might not use all of them. We are going to use keys. So keys is going to be really important that we're going to use, and I'm going to do an example of that. Again, I put the pop here. Pop item, if you know you want to remove the last item, you can say pop item, and it just removes the very last key value pair. And there's also like values. You can get all the values, or you can get all the keys. Now there are some words in here that we haven't covered, like tuple. So tuple is a variable type that we haven't covered, but I just wanted to put this in here down the road. When you may be manipulating dictionaries after this class, you may want to use this as a resource. I'm going to remind you again, create a dictionary. We can create a dictionary. We can create an empty dictionary, and this comes in really handy if we're going to create an empty dictionary and then add stuff to it. Just like a list, the list, we use square brackets. Here in dictionary, we're going to use the curly braces. So I create it. Courses equal, either way I can create it, and it will, just create those curly braces. Right? That's, if I print it, that's what you're going to see. So just like a list. And then here, just reminding you can add or update a value, right? Using this dict var square bracket key equals value, and you can access an element, which we were doing on Tuesday, by doing the opposite. Value equals dict variable square bracket key. Because remember, everything on the right side of the equal sign gets evaluated and then put into the left. So there's an example. Looping through a dictionary. We did do this an example in class, but I didn't have the slides in there. So here is how we do it. We use a for loop. So dictionaries are what we call iterable, which means we can, actually go through it and get each element at a time out of it, just like a list, just like a string. It's iterable. So we have 4 key in dict var. So that's how we can loop through a dictionary. And when we do that, the unique thing about the dictionary is the key. And so here's our dictionary books. We say for key in books. Remember, key is just a variable name. It's not a variable name you should use before it, right? It gets created when when we create this for loop, that's when that variable gets created and it exists in that for loop. So I can say for key in books, which will say just loop through my dictionary. I'll get the value equals books square bracket key, and then I can print a nice message like key written by value, since the value is holding our author. So then when we run this, as we loop through the for loop, the first time through, my key is The Fault in Our Stars. And then the value is going to be John Green. The second time through, it's The Hate You Give. And the value is going to be Angie Thomas. And that's what it will write. So now we're going to do an example. So I'm actually going to bring up PyCharm and use actually the example. I want to use the example we started with in week 1. So in day 1 of week 12. So in day 1, week 12, if you remember, so I am using the dumplings example. So our dumplings example here, we created a courses dictionary and we added some courses in there. And then we also created a colors dictionary with some of our favorite colors. And then we created a pretty print. And remember, that was where we looped through our dictionary, whatever that dictionary is. We looped through our dictionary, we got the value, and we printed the key and the value. And we called this. So this is great. This is a great place to start with. What I'm going to do, just so you can see what I'm doing, in case you wanted to follow along, I'm going to create a new file. It's going to be week 12, day 2 Python file. I'm going to come into my week 12, day 1, and notice I'm going to copy all of it. So Command A or Control A if you're on Windows to select all of it. Then we're going to do a Command C or Control A on Windows to copy it all. And then I'm going to do a paste. And so now I have all the code here from week 1. I'm going to change this though. This is going to be not week 1, day 1. So I'm going to change it to be day 2. And just to make it a little bit easier, right? I'm going to delete all of my, I put way too many comments in there, but I'm going to put here. So we're creating we just have our create courses dictionary. We have I'm going to just kind of clean it up, like just so it can be really easy to see. Here we have our colors dictionary, and then we have our pretty print. Okay, there's our pretty print. So what I want to do is actually, we are going to create a function, and this function is going to be called sorted print. So sorted print, it's going to have a parameter where info dictionary is a dictionary with key value pairs. Okay. There's no return value, by the way. It's just going to print them all. So there's no return value. I'll just put none. And what it does is it prints each key value pair on its own line. That's the goal of this function, right? So we're going to create this function. We know we have a parameter. I told you there's a parameter. You add it in just like that. There we go. So this is what we want to do. And this is going to let me demonstrate getting the keys, like just getting the keys from the dictionary. So I'm going to say, I'm going to get the dictionary keys. Here is my info dict dot and then keys. And I want to show you what gets printed. Okay. So here's my dict keys. I'm going to print this. This does mean, of course, that I need to come in here and we need to do, we had our ugly print, right? Here, I'm going to start with my sorted print. So this is going to be my sorted print, and we're going to call sorted print, and then my cool courses, right? Those are my cool courses. And for now, just so we don't have to worry about it, I'm just going to comment this code out, right? Just so we can kind of focus on our courses dictionary, right? I'll just kind of make it so you can really see it. This is my courses dictionary that we created. I have my ugly print, which is just that print. I did a pretty print, and now we're actually going to do a sorted print. That's the goal of it. But so we're going to run this now, and you're going to see here, right? There's my ugly print, there's my pretty print, my sorted print. And right now, what does it show? All I did was have it do this here is I get my keys and I print it here. Well, what it's showing you is this variable type. And the variable type is dict_keys. So this is a new variable type. And you're like, oh, I printed, it says dict_keys, parentheses, and then hopefully you're seeing this inside, which is a list, right? So we actually need to pull out the list. So I'm going to pull out the list. I'm going to say, and we could call this anything, I'm going to call it keys list equals, and I'm going to surround our dict keys, right? So that's our variable dict keys. And I'm going to surround it with list to actually convert it to a list. So now I'm going to print keys list, just so you can see what gets printed now. And when I run this, this is much better, right? I'm getting my list. And once so that looks much better. I'm going to come in here and comment out this print. We've got our list. Now, how do we put this in alphanumeric order, right? We know that we can call the sort method off of our list variable. So we have our keys.list sort parentheses, and now that will sort it. So now I'm going to come in here, print this. Again, I'm printing this just so you can see it as it steps through. I commented out the first one. I'm going to sort it and I'm going to print it. And here you see sorted print. We got this in order. This is great. We got this in order. Now we're going to loop through for key in my keys list. I'm going to loop through my keys list because they're now in order. But it's not necessarily the same order in my dictionary. But my keys are now, I have a new list, right? I have a new list that has my keys that are now sorted in alphanumeric order. Now let's get the value from the dictionary. So from the dictionary, let's get the value. And how do we do that? Value equals my dictionary, which in this function is info dictionary, square bracket, and key. And I am going to remind you that key is just a variable name, but it's a great variable name because it does represent what we are using, right? So is a variable name, right? It's not a reserved word, but it's very apropos in this case. So now I have my value, right? Now we're going to print my key, and just like we did it before, my value. So I'm going to comment out that print again. So we're now, hopefully you're seeing here, and I can actually delete these so it might look easier for you. We have our dict keys. We've converted it to a list, which pulled out that list. Great. Then we are sorting the list to put it in alphanumeric order. And now we're looping through our list. So we're looping through our list. And then we are using our key, we're pulling out our value from our dictionary. And now we're going to actually print sorted. So here, when I run this, you're going to see, this looks so much nicer. Here's our ugly print of our courses. Here's our pretty print. And there's our sorted print. Yes, so much prettier. And we can even use this now. I can uncomment this, right? And we can even use this here as well. And let's say sorted print of these were my dumplings dictionary. And you're going to see what that looks like too. But I am going to put, let's put a little note in here. So you'll be able to see it better. So here now we have our courses dictionary. And then I might change this so it looks a little bit nicer too. This is my colors dictionary, right? So here's my colors dictionary. And here we have our colors dictionary. Kimberly, periwinkle, Casey, blue, Trina, navy blue. Oh, I'm so glad we didn't already have them in alphabetical order. Now you can see that they are now in alphabetical order. Casey, K-A comes before K-I. So now they're in alphabetical order, which is awesome. So this is an example for my dumplings. I am going to really quick just do the same thing with my, because I want it for my Pythoneers. They may want to see their stuff from week 12. So I am going to kind of repeat this again. Week 12, day 2 with all of these guys. So for my Pythoneers, I want to make sure to do this for them as well. So I am going to come over here. Luckily, I have an ability to copy and paste. So I am going to do that. Because we are going to create right here our sorted. I should have copied it before I took that out, but there we go. We are going to add my sorted print here, right? So here's my sorted print. That means I'm going to come in here. I'm just going to clean this up a little bit. This is going to say, there we go. I'm going to print \n sorted print, and we're going to copy and say sorted print of my cool courses. And we're going to do the same thing. And in this case, in my colors one, we actually did a pretty print, and then we allowed you to enter your name and add to the dictionary. So we're going to come here and copy this sorted print and come here and say sorted print with my Pythoneers dictionary. Okay, so you guys can see that as well. So running this, and you're going to see we have our ones, and look at, they're not in order. 115 and then 100. So now they're in order: 100, 115, 240, 250. And then we have our colors dictionary are already in order. Okay, enter your name. Let's do something that's not after mine. So I'm going to do Ryan, our head LA. Oh, Ryan is not. Oh, that's right. It was updating the value. So I forgot what that was actually doing. It doesn't add it, it actually updates it. So the ability was to come in here and say something like, hey, let's change it to, you know, a nice like navy blue. And then it changes it to navy blue. But sorting wise, these names are already sorted, so it wasn't as dramatic. So there you go. There is kind of covering what we are going to cover. And I think I'm going to stop the recording, and then I will create a new recording doing the lab. So stay tuned for the next recording.